Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, dignitaries, and members of the Stoughton Fire Department family. It is with great pride and honor that I stand before you, along with President Jim Curtin, also Lieutenant Jim Curtin, the Local 1512. We represent the great men and women of the Stoughton Fire Department who are presently serving, who have served before us, and who are no longer with us. Firefighter Sunday is a day where we as a fire department and a community to take time to recognize and honor those members of the Stoughton Fire Department. At this time, I would like to call Mallory Breen, daughter of Captain Scott Breen, forward to sing our national anthem.
Detail. Check. Up.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, Mallory. That was beautiful. This time I would like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know if we're supposed to do two, but I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain standing. This time I would like to call forward retired Deputy Paul Roach Jr., also a Minister of Consolation, for our opening prayer.
I didn't know we were going to do the Pledge of Allegiance either, but today just happens to be the anniversary of when President Eisenhower signed an order putting the words "under God" into the Pledge of Allegiance. And it's just coincidental.
We did it on purpose.
We did it on purpose, yeah. Okay. On September 11th, 2001, when the World Trade Center was attacked, there was a Franciscan priest who was assigned to the parish that included the World Trade Center, and his name was Father Michael Judge. And every day, Father Judge supposedly said this prayer that he had written. So I'm going to say it, or recite it, because I try to do it every morning because it's on my desk and I get to my computer, and so I try to say this too. But it's a very short prayer. It goes, "Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say, and keep me out of your way." Let us pray. We gather this morning as members of the Stoughton firefighting community, joined together by profession, by service to others in their time of need, and concern for the well-being of those entrusted to their care. If it be your will, Almighty God, may those who serve today answer every call, confident of life, and return safely to answer the next. May those retired members continue to fully enjoy their retirement after completing a job well done and turning their watch over to others. And for those departed members, whose names we will call this morning in honor, may they enjoy your presence in eternity, for they believe that promise of the reward for serving their fellow man unselfishly and humbly. We pray for those members of the fire service across our country who have given their life in the line of duty, but especially our brothers, Firefighter Edward F. Kelleher and Firefighter Victor C. Melendi. May they rest in peace. We pray their families always feel the warmth, love, and respect for their sacrifice from those of us who remain. Almighty and ever-living God, these are the prayers of our lips and the prayers of our hearts. Hear them and heed them if they be in accord with your will. And grant us the grace, peace, and strength to accept your will in the knowledge of your eternal wisdom and loving care for all your people. Amen.
You may be seated. Well, it's wonderful to see, with glasses, but it's wonderful to see so many people here this year. The event continues to grow each year, and 50 plus seats, and we have more people standing than we do sitting. So this is a tribute to all of you for showing up. I'd just like to thank you for being here. Today I'd like to welcome you all to the Stoughton Fire Department, and I'd like to focus on the word service. Service may mean many things to many people. For instance, many view good service as receiving service with a smile, having your window washed and your oil checked when filling up the tank at the gas station, when out at a restaurant, getting your water refilled and extra bread with lots of butter before the meal has been served. Service is an expectation we as consumers place on those who serve us. Recently, Father Joseph Mazzone of the Immaculate Conception in St. James gave a sermon and quoted the great rock musician, folk musician, Bob Dylan, a song called "Gotta Serve Somebody." Here are a few of the lyrics from that song. Gotta serve somebody. You may be a state trooper. You might be a young Turk. You may be the head of some big TV network. You may be rich or poor. You may be blind or lame. You may be living on another country under another name. But you're going to have to serve somebody. Yes, indeed. You're going to have to serve somebody. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Might like to wear cotton, might like to wear silk. Might like to drink whiskey, or you might like to drink milk. You might like to eat caviar, you might like to eat bread. You may be sleeping on the floor or sleeping in a king-size bed. And then the refrain goes on to say you've got to serve somebody, yes indeed. The public also has an expectation of service for emergency personnel. We are all civil servants who work in public service. The fact is, we are workers who perform our jobs in the interest of the community and of the public good. Although true, we as firefighters place an even higher expectation on ourselves, a trait taught to us by those retirees who sit here before us, as well as those who are no longer with us. The citizens of Stoughton and the members of Stoughton Fire Department are truly and forever grateful for those lessons that you've taught to us. I'd like to give these gentlemen a round of applause for everything they've done for the town past and what you see present for what they've taught us. These expectations and trait bring the highest levels of service with humility and compassion to those that we serve. When the bell rings, each member goes into action, stepping onto the truck, ready to serve an unknown call before them. Be it a call for, and these are some of the daily things that we do, and a few of these calls we have done this year. Alarm activation for burnt toast, as you well know. A lot of alarm activations for burnt toast. Lifting an elderly or handicapped patient off of the floor, back into bed. Responding to a cardiac arrest. This year we had many snow-related emergencies, some unexpected, evacuating 34 horses from a barn collapsing from the weight of snow. Responding to a 25-year-old cardiac arrest known to some of the responders. Bringing back to life a person unresponsive to the effects of heroin. Responding to a building fire at an apartment complex, finding not only a roaring blaze, but also a victim needed to be flown to Boston, with a firefighter staying with her young daughter to console her until family arrives, then returning to assist his brother firefighters extinguish the fire. These are some of the things that we do every day, and did this year. Be it a routine call, an out of the ordinary call, attempting to save a life, or fighting a fire, know this: these members here of the Stoughton Fire Department do more than serve somebody. They answer the call daily. They walk into the unknown ready to serve. And they do it with honor, dignity, and pride. Thanks to all of the members, both past and present, for the job you have done and will continue to do for those you serve. Thank you. I would now like to call Lieutenant Jim Curtin, President of the Local 1512.
All right, I'm going to shoot for the hip, because if I write things down, it goes on forever. So thank you all for coming out here. We thank you for all your support. You guys are always there for us, and we appreciate it. But there's actually 5 guys that are here today that we owe this day to. So as I call your name, please stand up. Joe Ruggio, Henry Chipman, stay standing, Joe. Tony Novello, Roy Peck, and Lynn Weston. If you look before me, behind the wreath, is framed the charter from the Stoughton Firefighters Local 1512 and the International Association of Firefighters. 50 years ago, these guys put their butts on the line to bring us into the IAFF so that we would have protection, we'd have a decent job, a decent income. And I'd like to thank them because they're the reason that we're all here today. As we also mentioned, we're also here to remember our 2 fallen brothers. Firefighter Victor Melendi, whose 20th anniversary is this year, and Firefighter Eddie Kelleher, whose 50th anniversary is next year. We'll have a special presentation later on that goes along with that. And as of September, 9 of the firefighters here, at their own expense, will be going down to the new IAFF Fallen Firefighters Memorial down in Colorado Springs. This will be the first year that Eddie will be on the wall. He wasn't on the wall before because the wall didn't start till after Eddie was gone. So we'll be honored to go down there and take some nice pictures and make sure we bring back some memento for you. But the fire service, they call us a brotherhood, but actually it's a family. And we're all a family. You guys are our family, these are our family, because what does a family do? They're always there for each other. They're there to celebrate the joy of life. They're there to, when you're down. And that's why a lot of times you'll see people say, well, I'm a retired firefighter. Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you don't have to put that word retired. You guys paid your dues, you did the job. We're here today because of what you guys did back when you were here. So never use that word retired next to it. You guys are firefighters, you'll always be firefighters. And we're proud to have you here. And then just again, I always have to bring these up. These guys do a hell of a job. They have 365 days a year through all kinds of weather. As finances go, they do more with less every day of the week. A lot of people walking around today because of the job that these guys do and the training that they take on their own. And I just like a round of applause for my men, the members of Local 1512. And just once again, give yourselves a round of applause for being there for us all the time, for coming in and honoring us like this. We appreciate it. Thank you all. God bless.
Thank you. This time I'd also like to welcome several dignitaries from the town who I see at this point in time from the Board of Selectmen. We have Chairman Joe McCrisky, Vice Chairman David Sousa, Selectman Robert O'Regan, and also missing today, unless you're somewhere out there, are Bob Cohn and Tom Recupero. They could not be with us today. He is excellent. I see also Cynthia Walsh, retired selectman. And from Lou Kafka's office, I see Ted Phillips. Thank you very much for coming today. Is there anybody else I am missing? Okay, thank you all for coming. We truly appreciate your support. Thank you very much. We sure will. This time I'd like to call forward Firefighter Greg Bourget, Lieutenant James Campbell, Captain Michael Carroll, Firefighter Peter Danino, Firefighter John Hurley, and Captain Doug Campbell. Today we'd like to, myself and Lieutenant Curtin would like to present service pins for time and service. For their 20-year service pin, Firefighter Greg Bourget. Lieutenant James Campbell. And Captain Michael Carroll. And for his 25 years of service, Captain Doug Campbell. I am also awaiting a plaque from or a certificate from the Mass Fire Academy that has not come yet, so you will get them once we get them. My apologies. Thank you very much for your dedicated service. Thank you. This time, I would like to call Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Joseph McCrisky, forward, who also takes care of and maintains this beautiful truck behind you, Engine 2, for a presentation.
Thank you all. It's literally, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of at a loss for words, trying to think of how we're going to do this, because what we're going to do today is honor people who have paid the supreme sacrifice for our town. But how do you put a smiling face on something like that? And I think the only way that you can think about it is when that truck goes out in public, and I get to talk with firefighters. In this case, I think there's maybe 2 retirees that might have driven that truck, or it was there when they were on duty to take a ride on it. And I've got to say, I've got to point out to Tony Novello. We took a ride last year. We took a ride on that truck, and I don't know who had more fun, Tony or me. It's an experience, and I've said to anyone, if you want to ride on it, gentlemen, any of you, I'll stay here as long as you want to stay here. The truck, and those of us, we talk about the struggles that our town has gone through. We all do serve somebody. I agree with that completely. We serve the residents of the town. When we do that, sometimes we don't always agree. And sometimes, like a family, Greg, we fight like hell. But when it's all said and done, we are a town, we are a community, and the town goes through challenges every day to maintain that integrity, that relationship, that show where the old days when you drove down the street, you knew who was riding by you, you were waving. Now it's just the opposite. You see more faces you've never met before than the people that you remember. The town's changing. It's events like this that keep us together. It's the memory of people that have done something extraordinary for our town, or it's the people that just came to work every day and did the job that was asked of them to hold the town together. We're there when it got tough, and they were there when times were good. I get to see the good. I take this truck all over. Now I say, knock on wood, it's old. Some days it decides it doesn't want to run. That's frustrating. But when it does start and it goes up, like it did in Linfield yesterday at the Antique Fire Apparatus show that they have every year, Antique Fire Apparatus from all over New England shows up. And that truck yesterday took the best of show, and I've got a trophy that sits higher than the front bumper. But you know what it was more important is that a part of Stoughton shined yesterday. They didn't see headlines, they didn't see fights, they didn't see people arguing. They saw a piece of history that's maintained and still runs. And that's what that truck stands for, is all the men that were on that truck for years. I did speak with one through somebody else who had some very colorful words that I can't use to describe that truck. When it flipped over at the intersection of Morton Street and Bird Street, responding to a call, and it got a lot of damage. The language was pretty good. To see somebody still had that spite in them. They hated the truck. They said it was a piece of something then, and it was probably a piece of something now, and that related to me because it wasn't running that well at the time. So you kind of put all that together and say, man, are we cursed here? It was unbelievable. But we remember, and that's what we're doing today. And it was, talk about remembering, is that I asked Lieutenant Curtin if he remembered what he was doing on the 20th anniversary of the passing of Victor Melendi. I know what they were doing. They were out with a snowblower, clearing a path to his grave. And then when a phone call was made to Lieutenant Curtin that said Mrs. Melendi was snowed in front of her garage and she couldn't even open her front door, like they've done. They responded to the call again, and I believe 5 or 6 firefighters were at her home, shoveling out in front of her garage door and her front walk so that she could get out, whether she needed to be out for herself or a family member. But they didn't forget. And that's what Stoughton's all about. We can beat each other up mercifully sometimes, but when we need each other, we're there through thick and thin. So what we're going to do today on the fire truck, and I think is so fitting, is that since we got this truck up and running, I've been looking, how can we integrate what people have done for the town of Stoughton. It just, one of those times, something pops into your head and you say, it took me that long to think of that. So what we're going to do today is we have helmets that show the last call of Ed Kelleher and Vic Melendi that are going to be mounted to the fire truck, as well as the Chief Paul Roach's helmet is going to be mounted to it on the opposite side, and they're going to stay with that truck through all the shows. So that when people see that truck and admire how beautiful it is and how old it is and it's still running, they're going to get to see the people who made that possible. So if I could call on Lieutenant Jim Curtin, and I would ask the family of Edward Kelleher if you could please come forward. Ask the family of Victor Melendi, would you please come forward? And now if we could have the family of Chief Paul Roach, please come forward. And Lieutenant Curtin to present the Chief's helmet. And if I could mention, the helmet that Lieutenant Curtin is bringing forward is the helmet that Fire Chief Roach walked home with the day he retired. I just want to say how much this has meant to me, and it's an honor to have everybody here. What I am going to ask is one last thing. Mrs. Kelleher, Mrs. Delendi, and Mrs. Roach, if you could please stand by, don't leave. I want to have a picture of myself with you. We are going to be creating a pamphlet that's going to go out with the fire truck, and I want to put in the photo and a little caption of their careers. Most recently, to give you an idea how people have come together on this fire truck project, the ladders that are on there now are from a 1926 Seagrave. They weren't made for this truck. Maxim had their own ladders, but they're hard to come by. When you do find them, they're thousands of dollars. So funding has been, you make do with what you have when you have it. But I got these on a special deal from the Brockton Fire Museum. The gentleman who had this truck before was named Bill Donovan. Bill Donovan was a retired Brockton firefighter. And years ago, everybody here will remember when we did the rededication of Pye Park. Our Chief Pye a few years back, that was probably 2001 area. And, when you're a selectman, you think you know almost everything about the town. And you find out when you start to do the job as a selectman, you don't know anything until you've acquired a few years. And I went there and saw the truck and thought it was great that some guy had Stoughton on the name of this fire truck. It was pretty neat. And then I found out that it was a Stoughton truck that was ordered in 1927 and came into service in May of 1928. And Tony Novello had told me a story about when it was retired in 1956. And I think, Tony, you were happy to see it go as well. A lot of people seem to think it was worth going. And it's funny that it came back, and it's sort of like in everybody's face now. So it was great that the truck was there. And I remember saying to Bill Donovan, because I was then the president of the board of directors, I said, if that truck ever goes anywhere, I want the right of first refusal. And he says, Joe, and he was a history guy like I am. History is something else. And he said to me, Joe, if the truck goes anywhere, it has to go back to Stoughton because that's where it belongs. It doesn't belong in a museum. It belongs out there and people seeing it and having rides on it and enjoying it. And that's what it's doing today. We've been able to secure an illegal act. I'll share this and then I'll close. An illegal act secured some funding for that truck. If you've ever gone into sign shops, they have these little pub plaques, beer plaques, girls in bikinis, all these things, you hang them in your garage or in your bar area. Well, I was with my girlfriend and we were looking for a gift for my brother-in-law and his son-in-law, and we going through these little pub signs, and my girlfriend Maria, who's standing on the side, says, hey, look at this, it looks like your fire truck. And I looked at it and I said, that is my fire truck. And the first thing she did was rolls her eyes, because yeah, every antique fire truck is yours. Until I started showing her this, that, the wrinkle here, the spot here, because when you wax that truck as much as I wax it, you get to learn where every scratch and nick and ding is. And we took the picture of it in front of Town Hall. Well, what somebody did was went onto the website, right-clicked, saved the image, and they sold the image to a sign company that started making these signs. So, needless to say, I start saying, okay, where's the lawyers? Where are we going with this thing? I called the company, and you'll love the name of the company, Desperate Enterprises. I kid you not. But the owner of the company is a gentleman. I said, we have a problem. You're using a copyrighted image, and I want something done about it. And he says, well, you're going to have to do better than that, sir. So I sent him the link to the website. I says, if you look at that image and tell me that's not your sign, I said, I'll just stop the lawyers and we'll go that route, and which I'd really rather not do. And he called me back about 15 minutes later, all apologies. Sir, I'm sorry. He said, that's a needle in the haystack, and he says, and I'm talking to a needle. And he was a gentleman about it. So right now, we were able to cancel all the contracts for the person that stole it. And right now, we get a quarterly payment for that truck that runs anywhere from $250 to $410 a quarter for people out buying these signs. So it secured some funding, which is desperately needed because it gets expensive. But it goes to show you that sometimes, you know, the people that do wrong things get caught and it turns out for the better. So thank you, and then to the families, thank you very much for being here today.
This time I'd like to call Lieutenant Jim Curtin and Captain Bertram forward for the roll call.
Charles Wade, 1948, Fire Lieutenant. William Corbin, 1952, Captain, Call Fire Department. Everett Winship, 1959, Fire Lieutenant. Chester Smith, 1961, Deputy Fire Chief. Arthur Dykeman, 1964, Call Firefighter. Edward Kelleher, 1966, Permanent Firefighter, Line of Duty. Kenneth Roach, 1966, Call Firefighter. Wallace Billings, 1969, Permanent Firefighter. Frederick H. Pye, 1971, Chief of Department. Reynold Campbell, 1976, Captain, Auxiliary Fire Department. John F. Connors, 1977, Call Firefighter. Bernard Smith, 1981, Call Firefighter. William McNamara, 1982, Call Firefighter. Leo F. Roach, 1985, Permanent Firefighter. Eugene O'Neill, 1987, Permanent Firefighter. David Beals, 1989, Permanent Firefighter. Robert Buckley, 1989, Call Firefighter. Eugene Palucci, 1992, Call Firefighter. James H. Fowler, 1994, Deputy Fire Chief. Louis Lasivita, 1994, Call Firefighter. Victor C. Melendi, 1995, Permanent Firefighter, Line of Duty. Elmer Lothrop, 1995, Call Firefighter. Clyde Holmes, 1995, Permanent Firefighter. Milton Bishop Jr., 1996, Call Firefighter. Arthur Royal Madden Sr., 1996, Call Firefighter. John E. Noonan Jr., 1997, Fire Lieutenant. Emile Ouellette, 1999, Call Firefighter. Leo Riley, 2000, Call Firefighter. James M. Harron, 2000, Permanent Firefighter. Edward Lyon Sr., 2001, Call Firefighter. Harold Moore, 2002, Call Firefighter. Pat Catalano, 2002, Permanent Firefighter. James Purcell, 2002, Fire Lieutenant, Call Firefighter. Robert Blair, 2002, Call Firefighter. Ronald Leaf, 2005, Call Firefighter. Earl Bud McMahon, 2006, Call Firefighter. Richard Dick Cherry, 2007, Call Firefighter. John Mo Moriarty, 2007, Call Firefighter. John J. McLettery, 2007, Permanent Firefighter. John R. Lacasse, 2008, Fire Captain. Richard Barber, 2008, Permanent Firefighter. Bradford O. Wilbur, 2009, Permanent Firefighter. Arthur N. Corbett, 2009, Deputy Fire Chief. Charles Lindsay, 2009, Permanent Firefighter. Harold A. Sprague Jr., 2010, Call Firefighter. Ronald Bishop, 2010, Fire Lieutenant. Joseph Kelly, 2010, Fire Lieutenant. Eldon F. Mo Morrill, 2012, Houseman. Paul J. Roots Sr., 2012, Chief of Department. William Miller, 2012, Fire Mechanic. Richard Fontanaroso, 2013, permanent firefighter. Charles Lodge, 2013, fire lieutenant. Francis Fran Stetson, 2013, administrative assistant. Arthur Red Holmes, 2015, chief auxiliary fire department. Lawrence Doloff, 2015, deputy fire chief. Francis X. Noe, 2015, permanent firefighter.
This time I would like to call forward Lieutenant James Campbell and Lieutenant Mike Peck for the placing of the wreath. At that time, we will also strike the 4 5s, which is a custom in the fire service of rendering a final honor to past firefighters. This time I'd like to call Lieutenant Tim Carroll and Captain Mike Carroll for the raising of the flag. This is a tradition I started about 3 years ago, and I've gotten, that was started here at this event 3 years ago, and I've gotten a great response to it, so I'm going to read this poem again. It's called, "It's What We Do. I Wish You Really Knew." Adapted from an author unknown by Mark Bashur, Fire Chief of the Prince George County Fire Department in Maryland. I wish for just once you could experience the acrid smell of burning insulation, the taste of foul soot-filled mucus, the eeriness of being unable to see your hand in front of your face, or a host of other panic-induced sensations my brother and I have had to learn to instinctively overcome and control. As we blindly search a smoke-filled bedroom for a trapped child at 3 o'clock in the morning, our palms and knees burning as we crawl, the floor sagging under our weight, from the kitchen ablaze beneath us, with only eerie silence filling the audible void that we so desperately wish could have been filled with a wail of a child, or a wail of some smoke alarm. It is what we do. I wish you could just once have to cope with a wife's horror at 6 o'clock in the morning as I check her husband of 40 years for a pulse and find none. My crew starts CPR right away, wishing we could bring him back, but knowing intuitively it is probably too late. Yet doing all we can because of his wife and family, they deserve to know everything possible is being done to try to save his life. It's what we do. I wish you could stand beside me for just one time in the emergency room as doctors pronounce the infant my crew has been pouring 110% of their skills into saving for the past 30 minutes, a child we know never again will say the words, "I love you, Mommy." I wish you could read my thoughts as we extricate an intoxicated teenager from the remains of an automobile, wondering where her parents are, wondering what her family's reaction will be when they answer the doorbell an hour from now to find a police officer at the door. It's what we do. I wish you could comprehend what it feels like to have a child tugging at your arm and asking, "Is my mommy going to be okay?" Not being able to look the child in his eyes, not knowing how to answer his plea. I just wish one time in your life You have to comfort a lifelong friend who's just saw his buddy having CPR performed on him as the medic unit pulls away. It's what we do. I wish for just one moment you could feel the frustration I experienced sitting in the officer's seat, my driver slamming hard on a brake pedal, or my arm tugging the air horn as someone fails to yield the right of way, knowing fully well that should they ever need us, the first words out of their mouth will likely be, "What took you so long?" I wish for just one time you could know how it feels to walk in the house and greet my family, not looking forward to explain that I almost didn't make it back from the last call. It's what we do. I wish you could experience just a tiny portion of the physical, emotional, and mental pain that this body and all these bodies have had to overcome. Or the skipped meals, the lost sleep, or the missed social engagements, or just a fraction of the horrible, needless tragedies that these eyes have seen. It's what we do. Hearing all of this, I know you are probably wondering if I am crazy for choosing this is my lifelong calling. However, for just one moment, I wish you could also experience the camaraderie of my station, or the brotherhood of the crews, the emotional rewards from saving a life, or the personal satisfaction we gain from preserving someone's property, and the unbelievable rush of being able to bring calm to chaos. Unfortunately, unless you have lived the life we do every day, you will never completely understand or appreciate who we are, or that indeed, firefighters. By the grace of God, it is what we do. I wish you really knew. At this time, I'd like to call up Jim Curtin, President of the Local 1512, for the Firefighters' Prayer.
Firefighters' Prayer. When I am called to duty, God, wherever flames may rage, give me the strength to save some life, whatever be its age. Help me embrace a child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate. Enable me to be alert, to hear the weakest shout, and quickly and efficiently to put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and to give the best in me, to guide my every neighbor and protect his property. And if according to my will, to your will, I am to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife.
Today, I'd also like to give a special thanks to Gary Lewis, who owns Honeydew Donuts. Every year, he has given us coffee and donuts in Danish, and I'd like to just thank him. He's always been here for us. So thank you, Gary. Thank you all for coming today, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you. Have some coffee.